Time now for breathing lessons with Susan Kay, helping you learn how to breathe and release those beliefs that have been binding you so you can just enjoy life and breathe easy. Breathing lessons with Susan Kay.
Hi, I'm Susan Kay, and this is Breathing Lessons. We are starting a series today called Fundamental Christianity and Orphan Culture. Before I get started into this topic, I would like to share with you that, number one, if you are not a Christian or if you've never been a Christian, even if you're an atheist, I think it would be interesting for you to follow this channel, because you're going to find that even though you may not believe in God or you've not believed in God in the way Christians have, you'll find that you have actually accepted some of these ideas anyway. They're infused throughout our society and they're becoming uprooted. The other thing I want you to know is that I will be speaking about things that Christians believe, and I will speak about them in ways that sound as though they're real. So like the garden, the snake, the tree, all of that. And the reason I'm doing it that way is because Christians do believe it's real. When I was a Christian, I believed it was real. So that's just kind of a parameter. The other thing I would like to say is that when I speak about orphan culture, I'm really talking metaphorically. There will be times that if you have been an actual orphan, or if you've been in the foster care system, if you've lost your parents and you're adopted, those types of things, this could be triggering at times. And I want to make sure that you understand that when I'm talking about these subjects, even though you may recognize some things about yourself in them, I'm not relating this to the adoption of children in our society. However, it can apply. So I hope that it doesn't become too triggering for you if in fact you're one of those folks. So to start our talk, let's go to the garden. All of Christianity supposedly started in this place called the Garden of Eden. It was a place that God made apart from other places. So it says God created the heavens and the earth, and then he created the people. But then it says he went over here and he went to create a whole different area that was a special place. And then he created a specific man. And from that man, he created a specific woman. And so what we have here is this Shangri-La type of thing where God lived in this place. He supposedly walked around in this place and communed with the people that were there. So it was this place that embodied God, a place where the presence of God was known and felt and communed with by these people. You will find that in Christianity, there is a lot of belief around the idea that God is in certain places more than he is in other places. And depending on where you've been in Christianity, what kind of area of Christendom you've been in, whether it's the charismatic type group, or if it's just evangelical, straight down the line, evangelical type of group, or Catholic. There are places, people, and institutions that are lauded as being more in touch with God than other places. In my area of Christendom, there is we went to Toronto because Toronto was supposedly having this visitation of God in this certain church in Toronto. We were some of the people that went up there. There's a church in Redding, California by the name of Bethel. That has been considered, by the time we were close to coming out of our church, that was a big deal, a very big deal. And people would go there to go through special training and special classes. And it was supposedly this mecca for healing and inner healing. and there supposedly were supernatural manifestations happening in this church regularly. I'm not here to dispute what has been happening or not happening in these churches when it comes to, or in these places when it comes to manifestation of God or what people have experienced. It is not up to me to judge other people's experiences. But what I'm trying to do today is to share with you the problems that arise when we believe that God is in one place more than another. If you were in the evangelical realm, you probably would expect that places like Liberty University is a place that would be special, a place where, you know, they're getting their doctrine right and people are being trained correctly, and righteousness is being taught, and, you know, that sort of thing. Also, in the area I was in, I know that the House of Prayer was a big thing. Kansas City, Mike Bickle, where people would go to learn how to, they had a belief that when you worshiped and you created a worship atmosphere, and it would go 24 hours a day, these people would worship. You know, they'd change out people who would come in and do the music, and they'd stay in worship and prayer round the clock, and that this supposedly built a habitation for God's presence. I know people who actually went there. I know people who moved there because that was the place to be. There's Hillsong in Australia, where people would go to become magnificent worship leaders, supposedly. There was the offshoot of that in New York City. There's just a number of things. And as far as the Catholics are concerned, the one I'm familiar with was this man by the name of John of God. And he was a phenomenon in, like, Mexico. He supposedly could heal people, and there was this atmosphere surrounding him and his ministry there. People would go down there from all over the place to get healed. So these are just a few examples, and I'm sure there's a million more. And it depends on where you are in Christendom as to where you believe God is the most manifest. I do want to say that regardless of what you believe spiritually, even outside of Christendom, I know that there are those who believe that there are places, literal places in the earth that are more, the earth itself is more spiritually tuned, and so you could feel, you know, spirit in these places more. I know that Mount Shasta supposedly is one of those places. I think that the place in Arizona, it evades me, but I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. Sedona, Arizona is one of those places. And there's just places around the world that supposedly have these vortexes, or, you know, energy fields that are more in tune with spirit than other places. So it's not just a Christian thing. And there, in other religions, you know, the Ganges River and the you know, Mecca, places like that, places in India, just all kinds of things that people look to, places that they look to have an experience of spirituality. The problem with this idea is that when we believe that there are places in the earth that have God, we're just going to label this God, more the manifestation of God, the manifestation of spiritual energy or whatever, more than in other places. And we believe that, and we decide that we're going to access these places, and we may go to learn things, or we may go to, experience it. We become closed off to the idea that there could be things going on in these places that aren't healthy and maybe even dangerous. We become blind. We think we know what is going to happen there. We think we know that if God is there in a greater way. There's this automatic belief in safety. So the garden idea has become a problem, in my opinion, with people throughout the world who believe that there are places in the earth where God is more present than other places. When they go there, the blinders come on, and whatever's there, if it isn't healthy, it's either explained away or it's completely ignored. I'm going to take John of God, for example. He was so renowned there for a while that even Oprah went down to see this phenomenon. And her report was that she could feel God's presence in the room. I don't know that that's exactly how she said it, but it was palpable to her. John of God has turned out to be a sexual predator. There are women reporting that he would pick them out of the crowd, that he would invite them into a special meeting with him, and then he would molest them. So, but I do want to speak to this idea that people could feel things in these areas, in these places. If you've ever been to a rock concert, there's an atmosphere. You go into that building where people are expecting this rock group to come out and blow their minds with music and excitement and melody or whatever. And there is an atmosphere there. Anytime people congregate for a purpose and they all are, I'm going to use this word, in one accord, and I like that word because I like that expression because it is a Christian expression, which we will probably explore later on. When they're all of one mind. You go to a football game, you go to a rock concert, and then you go to some of these churches, or you walk into the house of prayer. You're going to feel the atmosphere that you're expecting. And there probably really is a certain energy in the air because people have gathered there believing all at the same time that this is what's going to be happening. I do believe in energy. I do believe that people can create energy all together, when everybody's happy in a house together, you walk in, it feels good. If you walk into a house where they're screaming and yelling, I believe you can walk in there and feel bad. So I do believe there's an atmosphere in that sense. Is it God? Well, it just depends on what you think God is and how God works. I know that Hillsong has had tremendous amounts of problems with sexual allegations. The pastor in New York has had allegations. Liberty University has had allegations. And I am not pointing these things out to say shame on you. What I'm saying is people got hurt there because they didn't understand this whole principle of, if you think you're going to only see God there, which means only see good there, then you will not be prepared and you will be blind to the things that could be there that can be harmful. I have personal experience with this, believing that my family was safe when they were not. And it has hurt our family deeply. So I have experience with this. So that is my first video. We're just going to establish the fact that there was that garden, people that lived in the garden, because God was there, they expected to be safe. So next time we are going to talk about the lie. We're going to talk about the serpent's lie. What was it? Was it what we think it was? What was the effect of that lie? And who's eating of the fruit now? So join me next time on Breathing Lessons for Fundamental Christianity and Orphan Culture.
Thanks for watching Breathing Lessons with Susan Kay. For more breathing lessons, stay tuned to this channel and learn to breathe with Susan Kay.